Well, it's a beautiful day in Arkansas. It was raining for like a week straight, but it's gorgeous now. I did a little swapperoo on some tires here. These tires were on the 72 C20, so I swapped those over here. Reason being, these are 265 75 R16s. Kind of go with a little bigger of a tire for the, bigger four-wheel drive truck. And I went with 245 75 R16s on those wheels, which were on this truck, and I painted them white. And I think the smaller tire on that truck looks way better. Kind of hard to tell the difference on camera, but I'm probably going to lower that truck a little bit when I go through the front end. Put some lowering coils on it and get it, kind of fill in that gap a little more and get it lower. I already did lower that truck a little bit, but not much. Mostly the back. So these look good on here. Just a little dirty. Plenty of tread left. I got these tires about 4 years ago. Nothing special, just cheaper Walmart tires, but they've held up pretty good. Today's order of business is to go through the front brakes, replace the calipers, shocks, steering dampener, brake hoses, all that junk back here. Got some ceramic brake pads too. Got tack right here that's gonna go in, so I know what RPMs I'm spinning at. My shocks over here, just some Monroe shocks, same style I put in the rear. So, I'm gonna get started to start taking this thing apart. But yeah, that caliper that's sticking really slowing me down. I feel like it's gonna feel like a whole new truck when I get done with this. Maybe get some better gas mileage too. Alright, a little update here. I got one side all taken apart as far as I'm gonna go. A lot of old grease, just broke down grease. It's just no good anymore. I'm glad I took this all apart. Bearings are in really good shape, so I'm gonna reuse those, repack them. Rotor's really nice, so repack those, get this all back together, and go from there. I don't know whoever designed that C-clip right there. That was the hardest part of the whole thing, taking it apart, getting that out. What a pain. Alright, the hubs are all back together, repacked the bearings. Really glad I did that because there was old crappy grease in there that had like a bunch of dirt and water in it. So I'm glad I did that. Surprisingly, the bearings were in good shape. There wasn't any nicks or damage in the bearings, so just repacked them, put them back together. Real nice and smooth now. Way better than it was before. There was a little bit too much of a load on the bearings, or somebody over tightened the spindle nut, and that was a little bit too tight before, so I got it set properly and nice and smooth now. Now I just gotta bleed these brakes. I got the brakes all back together, calipers on. These were only $25 a piece with a core return, so a lot cheaper than I thought they would be. And the hose are about 30 bucks a piece. So I just went ahead and did both sides. Originally I was just gonna get one side, but they were a lot cheaper than I thought, so I just thought I'd go ahead and place them. These are the JB7 calipers, the big 3-inch piston calipers that Chevy put on the heavy duty trucks. So that's why it feels so good when you're stopping. Well, we'll see how it feels with new calipers, because this side was sticking, so that already was slowing me down to begin with. I did a little bit of buffing on the paint over here on this fender. Really shined up pretty good. Nice patina on this truck. I just like how it's all one color. But you can see the difference. This is before, or this is after. This is before. Quite a big difference. I'll eventually do the whole truck. I never told you guys why this truck left me stranded. What happened was the fuel pump came disconnected from the pickup tube in the sending unit. The little rubber hose slid off. So what I did is I had dropped the gas tank out, and I put a longer piece of hose so it has more to grab onto, and I put 2 clamps on either side, and I got rid of those worm clamps that came with the pump, and I put fuel injection hose clamps on there, 2 of them per side. So I'm hoping that it'll hold up good. It should. But that's the whole part of it. You gotta work all the bugs out. Now I got another problem. Not really a big problem, but it's hard starting when it's warm. It takes like 5 seconds of cranking before it starts. I'm thinking it's probably my fuel pressure regulator. Usually that is the culprit with hard warm starts. This guy right here, I think I actually have one of those here, since all my vehicles have the same engine. I got parts for them around, so probably swap that out at some point. And I got an annoying flashing engine light, which is a transmission related thing that I forgot to delete off the computer for the automatic transmission, so I gotta do that. But I also got a PO300 random misfire code, which I think is because this hose right here had a big crack in it, so it was a vacuum leak. So I replaced that already, and I don't think the code has cleared itself yet, so I'm going to get in there and get rid of that code, see if it pops back up again. It could be something else. But it's running really good. All the smoke has gone away. It runs good and clean now. It was smoking a little bit when I first started it, but that's just normal for engines sat around a bit. And the lifter noise is starting to go away too. It's still present at idle, but it is a lot better than it was. So getting the bugs worked out. Alright, I did a little restored the frame. Everything's back together, replaced the steering dampener. So, ready to put the wheels back on, and maybe I'll do some more polishing on the paint, buffing. So for the tack, most LS swaps, you have to wire in a resistor. So I actually bought all these resistors 5 years ago for that specific reason. 1,000 ohm resistors. You got to wire one end to key on 12 volts, and then the other end is just going to go right in line with your tack signal, so you can get enough power to run the tack, because some computers don't send out enough power to actually power the tack and send a signal to it. So you got to help it out a little bit, and that is mostly for 2003 and up swaps. A lot of the 2001, 2002 are fine, and you don't need to wire in a resistor, but I just go ahead and do it anyway, just in case I just have that oddball computer that's not going to send enough power. So yeah, there's that, if anybody is wondering and working on putting tack in their swap. So now I'm just going to put all my dash pieces back together. Alright, got the tack all wired in. It's working, so that's good.